breaking news that the quiet period of the Intellivision Amico has seemingly come to an end. Now, this is very exciting in the idea that lots of people didn't think that this quiet period would ever come to an end. We'd never find out what the fate of the Intellivision Amico would be. Now, we're going to get into it. We'll go through what the email that was sent out last night contains, and it's got a lot of interesting stuff. I would say that we need to be cautious not to think that everything's now going to be absolutely a-okay, and I would be honest that I think most people probably don't think that. By this stage, a lot of people are skeptical. A lot of people have, they've given up hope on the Amico coming out, but for the most part, I am going to try to be positive about it. I will look at things realistically, and I will look for any red flags, but I'm not going to be negative for the sake of being negative. Let's bring up the email and we'll go through it and give some commentary along the way. So this came out at 1:17 a.m, 12 hours ago as I am reading this now. So people had said that the quiet period for the Amico was going to come to an end by the end of May. Apparently, I believe John Alvarado, who was the guy who did the unboxing video a couple of months back, had been on someone else's podcast, I think, just putting a comment that come up saying that he expected that the quiet period would come to an end by the end of May 2022, and it didn't. And then someone else, another gaming YouTuber, forget who off the top of my head, it's just something I read on one of the Amico Facebook groups, said that they'd got something, that they'd managed to get a refund, and that we should hear news either by last Friday or by this Monday. And we heard on Tuesday. So people always point out that there are always delays to everything Amico related, but whether this is a few days later, that's not a big issue to me. Obviously, this quiet period, I think, started at the beginning of March, maybe even at the end of February. So it's been a long time to get to June, for the quiet period to end. But they hadn't said how long the quiet period would last, and we have heard from them a couple of times during this quiet period. One was the unboxing video, which people scrutinised a lot, that didn't look like a genuine unboxing video, and the second was when there was the controversy with GameStop charging people for Amicos when the system wasn't ready yet, and then GameStop dropping supporting the Amico, and then Intellivision setting up a different way where people could migrate their pre-orders from GameStop to them at a pre-order price of $0. So that's where we're up to. Let's dive into this, and we're trying to read through it and then give some commentary along the way, but we'll save most of it for the end. So this says Intellivision Amico news and updates, and it shows an Amico there, one of the white ones. And this is from Phil Adam, the CEO. It says, "Greetings. It has been a while since our last official update, and I thank you for your patience. I hope that this update on the state of Intellivision will answer some of your questions and explain where we are and where we are heading. When I took over as CEO of Intellivision, my goal in leadership required some tough decisions to ensure we launch a quality product. Number one, we pulled down our investment campaign on Start Engine a few weeks after it launched in February of this year. Without better visibility of our path to profitability, we felt this was the right decision in the short term. Any funds committed by Start Engine investors as part of the campaign were returned in full." Now, I will give the quick note there that sometimes with crowdfunding platforms, even if you don't reach your target, then you can still keep whatever you have raised towards realizing your project. And I'm not sure if Start Engine is one like this, or if it's that if you don't reach your target, then you don't get the money at all. But from what I remember, they needed maybe $5 million and they raised $50,000 or $60,000. So clearly they were a long way off target, but we'll come back to this. Of course, this required us to take other financial measures to make up for the foregone new investment. I will just say that that's something where I feel like they're saying that to say to be humble, oh well, we lost out too. but they were so far off their target that there wasn't much point in them taking that 50 or 60,000 if they did need 5 or 6 million. Number 2, we have dramatically reined in operating costs, which unfortunately required a significant reduction in staff. Our resources are focused on engineering and testing to ensure we have a quality system, as we cannot succeed by producing anything less. It's good that they acknowledge that they need to have a quality system. It's a little bit worrying, and again we'll get into this a bit more later on, that they say about engineering. It sounds like the product isn't ready to be shipped. It's not ready to really be produced yet if they're still engineering it and testing it. People said over the last year about lag issues, so this is probably whatever the bugs are that they need to iron out that they're still trying to resolve. Number 3, we are working with game development partners to license classic Intellivision intellectual properties, IPs, for publication on other platforms. Again, we'll come to this more later, but this is an example for the Evercade, the Intellivision Collection 1, which came out a few months ago. And then there was a second collection that was meant to come out in May, and I believe is now coming out at the end of June. So these licensing deals will help fund continued development of Amico. So again, I think they need to be on more platforms than the Evercade, because these sell for only about £15. So it's not going to, even if literally every Evercade owner bought both Intellivision collections, it's probably not going to fund the creation of the Amico. A broader distribution of Intellivision classic IP will also help raise awareness of Intellivision while not directly competing with Amico, because of Amico's unique controllers and family-focused gaming adaptations. Many people in the retro gaming community have embraced us because of our family focus and the fact that all of our games, including retro titles, are adapted for group play. While Amico's broad catalogue will continue to include retro titles, our mission has been and remains cross-generational in-home family entertainment. We'll get into some of this later on, but we'll power through. We have begun a test production run of Amico that includes every aspect of the product, including packaging. Now, obviously, a couple of months ago, we saw the unboxing, and that was probably part of this process. This is first and foremost an assessment of our manufacturing approach and overall quality of the delivered product. It is critically important to show our current/future investors, partners and customers that we have built a sound platform that delivers on the in-home family experience, which requires our immediate focus on value engineering and hardware hardening of the platform. These units should be completed in the next few weeks. Now, again, it just mentions about that we have a sound platform, like the quality of the product. It suggests that the problem that's been holding things up is that the product they'd got had probably got flaws. We saw, like over a year ago, that people were saying about certain games being laggy with the controllers, and that just means that if you can't play the games without lag, you can't play the games. And so if it's that they had to go back to the drawing board and sort things out there, then to make sure that the product works, because you don't want to just make it so everyone's got it and it doesn't work, which what it comes down to. So it says these units should be completed in the next few weeks. We'll come back to this though. We are slowly processing refund requests. The public's uncertainty of our status in the last few months have understandably led to an influx of pre-order refund requests. So they're acknowledging that there at least, which is a good thing. Because of reduced staff and financing requirements for the continued operation, our responses to and processing of these requests has been delayed. Now, I will just quickly pick up there, but we'll come back to it. Because of reduced staff and financing requirements, these are two separate things. So reduced staff means that it will happen slower, and that's understandable, but they've had several months. But it says, and financing requirements. I think that they buried the lead there slightly, that they don't have the finance to pay everyone their refunds back. But it says because of reduced staff, to try to make it like, oh, it's slow because of reduced staff. but realistically it's because they don't have the finance. And hopefully it doesn't say they've got some new investor in this, but hopefully they're getting towards like having the funds to be able to deliver to the people that have already pre-ordered it. And again, we'll come back to that in a bit. Our responses to and processing of these requests has been delayed. Rest assured that our intention is to honour all refund requests. We will allocate a portion of all new funding and staff time to winding down the refund queue, while our primary focus is funding and completing a quality product ready for manufacturing. Which again says that they haven't completed the product. To make sure we see your request, please submit to support@intellivision.com. Number 6, we will focus our initial mass production on fulfilling pre-orders and supplying our 2 major distribution partners. Is one of them maybe Amazon and Argos? Because these are things, when I did my video a few weeks ago, we're still listing it for sale. I may check that in a bit though. The focus will remain on direct orders until our cost structure can support the margins required for retail channels. So again, it sounds like you're ordering directly from them rather than something like Amazon. But anyway, we'll come back to that. Obviously, the markets continue to be somewhat volatile with rising inflation, rising energy costs and lingering supply chain issues that affect all manufacturing businesses. This has impacted both our costs and pricing, and it has required us to narrow our initial distribution strategy. Our hope is that we will start shipping production units this year. Once again, it says our hope. Like, we'll look into why it's a hope rather than more of a certainty, but let's continue through to the end. Many challenges lie ahead for the business, and we appreciate our investors, partners and customers for your patience and support. We will be formally announcing some new IP licensing partnership deals soon. So one thing about that is, if they're announcing some new ones, it's not just limited to what's happening with Blaze and the Evercade. These units will be shared, as well as showing off the Amico units currently in production. These units will be shared with partners, investors, and a select few in the media. In television, I would love one. I will promise I will be fair, but I will, look for the good, as I know that some people just look for the bad, but that's fine. But I would be honest. As more production units become available, we will broaden the distribution to media outlets that cover our target demographic. Once again, bring one over to me. I'll certainly make a lot of content about it. Thank you for your support, and thank you to our internal team and external developers that work tirelessly to create a family gaming experience on Amico that brings people of different ages and skills together in group play. Phil Adams, CEO. I think this is interesting. It's more promising than not, because ultimately, if this was just a delaying tactic, like another delay, they're like, oh, we'll stay quiet as long as we can, and then we'll just throw them a bone. Like, what are they throwing us a bone for? If the console isn't going to happen, then just announce that it's cancelled, and then people will be upset. It will be a joke like the Coleco Chameleon, and people will move on with their lives. The people involved, like Phil Adam, Tommy Tallarico, Hans Ippisch, all these other people, they'll be scrutinised a lot longer if they say this thing is going to come out and then it just isn't going to. So it suggests to me that they still think this is going to come out. And for the amount of years it's been in development, for the amount we have seen of the games of it, this is a real console. It's not a hoax. These games are actually out there. I'll get to it in a minute, but I did send a few emails out to like some developers that of like some of the games, like Finnegan Fox and a couple of others, and I did get a couple of short responses back. Nothing major, so that I didn't really feel the need to, say, oh, I've got some inside scoop earlier. But like, there are people that are involved in making these games, and whether they launch on the Amico or they eventually launch elsewhere, You know, these things do exist, and there's no reason to keep spinning us the idea that this is going to come out if it isn't. So it really does suggest to me that it is going to come out. Okay, so let's now break down this email a bit more in depth, pulling out certain things. So with that, if you've been listening to the last few minutes, we're going to go over it again. Now, greetings. It's been a while since our last official update. I think the last one was, in fact, when the GameStop issue happened and they made it so you could pre-order the system directly from them for $0. Now, I might just, bear with me a second, I'm going to bring up the website and show you what the current state of affairs is there. Let's just do it. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at where things are on their website, and from what I can see, and I did look earlier, there aren't any new updates on their website to reflect this email. So the only people that found out this update, I believe, were the people that have already signed up to their newsletter, and that's fine. But we'll take a quick look here, because I've pre-ordered Amicos from these guys a couple of times. So I'm going to click United Kingdom, pre-order from Intellivision, and it still comes up that there's $0. So the important thing is that it's come up that I'm order number 06072. And once again, I'm not trying to muck about with the people at Intellivision putting silly things. Like, I'm not going to be chasing you for a refund. Like, you don't need to chase me. Like, I am going to get at least one of these consoles when it comes available. But I'm just seeing where it is. So 6,072. When I did my video about a month ago, it was at 5,942. So in about a month, only about just over another 100 consoles have been pre-ordered. Just about 100 consoles have been pre-ordered in the last month. And if we come over to the website again, it says limited collectors boxed edition bundles are available. Click here to purchase, and it shows that you can get the games. Now, I tried to buy these, and I'm going to say Europe, and it says here Intellivision Entertainment Europe ships to the United Kingdom, and then when you come to country, it doesn't allow you to order to the UK. It doesn't allow you to say England, Scotland, anything. No UK, no Wales in there. Okay, so let's come back to the email. So, once again, it says, it's been a while since our last official update. Thank you for the patience. And when I took over as CEO of Intellivision, my goal in leadership required some tough decisions. And it says 1. So were these all tough decisions? I don't mean to like scrutinize just the way this guy's written, but some tough decisions, and I guess these were supposed to all be tough decisions. I don't know. 1, we pulled down our investment campaign on Start Engine. They weren't going to get the 5 million that they required, so they pulled it down early. It is what it is. What I don't quite like is they says, of course, this required us to take other financial measures to make up for the foregone new investment. They were getting such a small amount compared to what they needed. It would have just meant that however many people gave that $50,000 or $60,000 would have just been another bunch of people probably a bit upset that they've given money and it's kind of not going to result in a console. So I think they made the right decision there to see that the money was returned to the people. 2, we have dramatically reined in operating costs, which required a significant reduction of staff. We know this through people's LinkedIn pages. Lots of other YouTubers have done the digging and found that people are no longer listed as working for Intellivision. And what's interesting though, our resources are focused on engineering and testing to ensure we have a quality system, as we cannot succeed by producing anything less. So our resources are focused on engineering. They're still engineering. That's not great. Look, I'm going to stay positive here, but I feel like this isn't blatant that they're just saying the console isn't done, but it's kind of them saying that the console isn't done. If they're focused on engineering and testing to ensure we have a quality system, it means that they don't believe they currently have a quality system. 3, we are working with game development partners to license classic Intellivision intellectual property for publication on other platforms. Now, this is a smart thing, and I'm excited because I don't believe this is gonna. I don't believe it should take too long for games to come out, because look, Intellivision games have been emulated over and over again. I've got here Intellivision Lives for the PS2, and there should have been something like this for like the PS4, for the PS5, the Nintendo Switch. You know, whether you download individual games for a couple of pounds, couple of dollars, or if you get collections like you do with the Evercade collection here. I think that's a smart move. Now, a bit later on, it does say somewhere about we will be formally announcing some new IP licensing partnership deals soon, and that says new ones. So it's not just that there's going to be a second Evercade Intellivision collection number 2 coming out. There is going to be some new partnerships. Now, it'd be interesting to see who they've been able to do deals with, and it'd be interesting to know what the deal is. Obviously, Intellivision are going to have done a deal where it's like, look, we need to get money in. That is our objective here. And so doing something like this, even if every Evercade owner bought both cartridges, that's not going to be enough. But if they manage to make a lot of little sales from individual games or collections of games on the Nintendo Switch, or on like the PS5 or Xbox Series or Steam, then that will help. It definitely will help. And for the last few years, Intellivision haven't been putting out any games that people can play. They haven't been putting out any consoles or products that you can buy, except for if you bought like an Amico t-shirt, or if you bought the physical games, which at the moment people can't use, but as I found out, I still can't buy in the UK. They would have got a little bit of money from me, but they need to make it available in the UK. Let's have a look. Let's see. These licensing deals will help fund continued development of Amico. Broader distribution of Intellivision classic IP will also help raise awareness of Intellivision. That's a good thing, and hopefully it will be in a positive way, while not directly competing with Amico because of Amico's unique controllers and family-focused gaming adaptations. Now, obviously, if you can play Amico games with a smartphone, and like how you can get the Amico app and play Moon Patrol or whatever it is on the smartphone as it is already, then they could put some of these games onto smartphones. And even though they say about classic IP, Shark is a classic IP, and if they put out the new version of Shark, that's still putting out a classic IP, and people might be like, oh my god, so the brand new Shark is just on Android or iPhone or Switch. But if that's one game that they put out that people like, and it makes them a bunch of money so they can fund making the rest of the games in the system, then sacrifice 1 or 2 games so that then the next 20 or 30 games that they've been working on can all come out as Amico exclusives. And they could be like limited time games on the Switch or whatever. Just like how the Super Mario All-Stars collection on the Nintendo Switch was only available for a short while. They could say, look, if you want Shark and if you want whatever else, what else have they got? Like Night Stalker, Astrosmash. If you want them on the Switch, you've got to buy them now, because they're going to disappear in like 2 months' time. Everyone will buy them, and that will give them a shot in the arm. So let's have a look. And then if you want them thereafter, you can get perhaps like the full version, and not to say that they've put a demo out on like the Switch, but if you want to use it with the unique features of the Amico controller, then you could get it on the Amico itself. People's retro gaming community have embraced us because of the family focus, etc. Let's see what else we've got. We have begun a test production run of Amico that includes every aspect of the product, including packaging. That's great. We saw that the packaging obviously was being worked on a couple of months ago with the unboxing that they showed. An assessment of our manufacturing approach and overall quality of the delivered product. It worries me that after all this time they're not certain of the overall quality. So I think probably what we don't know for certain, although we've probably all been able to guess, is that the system had issues. We heard that it got lag, and if it was just that the controllers were laggy, that is enough to mean that you can't release the console in that state. And so whether it's that they need to add more RAM, or like more up-to-date processor, or if they need like a better Bluetooth something or other dongle in there, then whatever it was, they need to identify whatever the bugs or the flaws were with the system and put in the extra time and sort them out. Engineering, like they say. Okay, it is critically important to show our current stroke future investors. Now, we don't have a clue who their current investors are, other than perhaps people that have already pre-ordered the system or invested through crowdfunding already. And it does tell us from this that they are looking for future investors. Partners, we don't know who their partners are, maybe the developers, and customers, that we have built a sound platform. And this is the thing which is a thread throughout this, that we're trying to make sure we have a quality product, that we can engineer this, that it's going to be a sound system. So it sounds like the console just isn't ready yet. So, which requires our immediate focus on value engineering and hardening of the platform. I don't quite know what they mean by hardening of the platform. So just like getting things locked in, so it's set, so it's going to be this, it's going to be that. I think for whatever we did know about what this system is, by the time it releases, it's going to be something else. Maybe slightly different or significantly different. But I think they realised that the hardware wasn't up to scratch in some way or other. These units should be completed in the next few weeks. So a test production run, why not give them to the backers? Because look, I looked it up and you've got 6,000 people have pre-ordered on your website. I'm at least 3 of them, and I'm probably only going to get one console. And if I can get it from Amazon, I'll get it from there. So if you only need to make 5,000, 4,000 consoles, 3,000 consoles, 1,000 consoles. Imagine if this was like out there, like the Playdate is out there, and only the first 20,000 people have it, because that's all you could manufacture in this time frame. Then the next people wait for it, and that's fine. You can do it that way. Playdate is proving it. It may not be ideal for everyone, but PS5, Xbox, these have all been ones that people years later still haven't got their hands on. Start giving it out to people, get people excited, and it'll turn out okay. We are slowly processing refund requests. Now, I can say that I came onto the party after the point of the refunds being an issue. So I was able to pre-order mine for $0 from Intellivision, and I wasn't worried about getting my money back from Amazon. So I don't have money that I'm waiting to get back, which is good for me, but obviously it's a shame for the people that are still trying to get the refunds. But this says here that rest assured our intention is to honour all refund requests. Now, they might be hoping that putting this out may make people not want the refund request anymore. It says we will focus our initial mass production on fulfilling pre-orders and supplying our 2 major distribution partners. Now, I said about this, I'm just going to check with Argos. Now, I don't know if Argos is even a thing in the UK, sorry, in the US, but Amico, and let's see, Amico is still listed on Argos, so that's got to be a major distribution partner, at least in the UK. And look, and the price is $2.49 there. Let's see if it's still available on Amazon. And Amico, let's see what we've got. Will it load? Yep, and $2.39, so it's still listed on Amazon as well. The focus will remain on direct orders until our cost structure can support the margins required for retail channels. So obviously Atari, with the Atari VCS, the main place where you get it is from Atari. You could get it from GameStop, you could get it I think on Amazon in the US, and maybe you can't get it as many places now, because I know a few weeks ago GameStop was selling them off at like $100. But you can obviously still get the VCS from Atari. If Intellivision just want it so that you order it from them, and that way they don't have to split any costs, or they don't have to split any profits, and they get all of the profit because they perhaps need every cent of it at the moment. Then I understand that. Whether or not some people will be hesitant to actually buy direct from them, I would rather get my unit from Amazon, is the truth. But like, if people start getting theirs, then I won't be the first guinea pig to try ordering it with money from Intellivision, but if other people get it, then I'll get it too. This has impacted both our costs and pricing. So here's the interesting thing. The market continued to be somewhat volatile with rising inflation, which is obviously a thing, rising energy costs, which has especially been a big thing. Lots of places in the world, but in the UK, if we feel it, and lingering supply chain issues. Now that one is something which I'm sure has been touted a lot in the past, but how can you say a couple of years later we still can't get the chips and stuff? Because people are now starting to get PlayStation 5s and Xboxes, and even though they're still scarce enough, you haven't got 1,000 of them to be able to put these systems out. So it's just interesting. It is our hope. Our hope is that we will start shipping production units this year. So they see, what I take from that is, from what they've stated, and I'll take them on their word, that they see that releasing this console to customers this year is a possibility, which means it can't be that far off from being a finished machine. And then whatever time is taken to produce it and get it out to customers, that can happen this year. It's June, so they've got 6 months to be able to achieve this goal. And regardless of whether they have let people down for 1 or 2 years prior, like I know Phil Adam hasn't been the CEO for that long, and that he took over from Tommy Tallarico, I believe, at the start of this year. And so it doesn't mean it's a clean slate. It's obviously still the same company, but it's a different person that this email is addressed from now, stating this, and then therefore putting his name to it. Many challenges lie ahead for the business, and we appreciate our investors, partners and customers for your patience and support. So he doesn't necessarily identify in this statement what these challenges are. He says about, because when this email started, it says some tough decisions. So was this tough decisions or was this challenges? And yeah, it doesn't have to be strictly one or the other, but what are the challenges that lie ahead? And we appreciate our investors, partners and customers for your patience and support. We'll be formally announcing some new IP licensing partnership deals soon. So I hope that they've actually got some lined up, and that they have them, just that they're dotting the I's or crossing the T's or something. It tells me that they weren't ready to announce them here, because if they said, we're announcing that Atari are going to make some recharged versions of Astrosmash for the VCS, and this will later come out on the Amico as well, and even though it's not an exclusive, we're going to do that, people would have been happy enough. If they'd said that whatever company is going to make them, Limited Run Games is going to make Shark and it's going to come out for the Switch or something like this, people would have been happy enough. So they haven't got the partnership deals ready to announce today, but hopefully once they've got this, then the next announcement will be, here's a game that you'll be able to buy this year and it's going to earn money this year, because these have got to come out quite soon, because if they want to start shipping production units this year, and they're going to get the funding to make these consoles from these partnership deals to put out their classic games, then these need to start coming out. Why can't it be that we have all of these games available on the App Store? Or why can't we get them so you can download the classic games on Steam and Switch? Because this will just start to bring in drips and drops of money, and that, if they've been available for the last 3 years, then they may not have been in this situation now. And let's have a look. And it says here, as well as showing off the Amico units currently in production. So some are currently in production, but how many? 100? 50? 10? These units will be shared with partners, investors, and a select few in the media. Once again, send one out to me, and I will be fair and I'll be honest, but I will be positive. I will look for the positives. If there are negatives, we'll be realistic about negatives. As more production units become available, we will broaden the distribution to media outlets that cover our target demographic. Thank you for your support, and thank you for our internal team and external developers that work tirelessly to create a family gaming experience on Amico that brings people of different ages, blah 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 blah. Phil Adam. So I think this is more positive than not. Now, some people have been invested in this and paid out money years ago, and some of those people are very unhappy. Other people are saying, look, we're keeping the faith. And some people are annoyed that people are keeping the faith. I joined this party late, and I'll probably say that every time I talk about the Intellivision Amico. I heard about it a couple of years ago. I covered it for the website extremes.tv last year when it was at shown off at E3. I wrote an article or two about it. I then made a video a few weeks ago because I found that when there was all this controversy, I was like, well, I want to order it because if there's only going to be a limited amount, I don't want to miss out on it. And then I found that I couldn't pre-order the games. And then I started digging, and since then I've been very interested in following closely everything that's been going on. So I am late to the party, but I want to approach this by digging into it because it's a super fascinating story. I love retro games. Most of the things that I've done on this channel have been Evercade, A500 Mini, Atari VCS, and I intend to do a lot more, including lots of modern stuff because I am just like a gamer of all ages, different eras. But this one has really caught my interest. It's a fascinating story, and I almost feel like for any of the downs there have been, I would like to focus on this, the underdog story of, can it make it there in the end? It doesn't mean that there, aren't problems and that they shouldn't be, handled differently, and they should handle things better, and some people should admit to flaws and faults, and I think that would be healthy. But the thing I'm interested in is getting the console, playing the games. I think covering the Intellivision Amico would be a great thing for this channel because I think there are lots of people interested in it. I've got an original Intellivision here. I was going to make a video on it, which I still haven't got round to yet, just because all this other stuff been going on with the Amico. I'm going to do a review of the Evercade Intellivision games soon as well. But that's going to about wrap it up for today. So I'm going to keep doing more videos on the Intellivision Amico as and when the news about the console comes out, and hopefully we'll get the console soon to be able to make some gameplay videos on it. I do have a really cool idea for something Intellivision Amico related that I want to do soon, but I'm still brewing on it. But other than that, I'm going to have some stuff about the new Evercade EXP that's going to come out later this year, that's just been announced. I've got mixed feelings on it. I'm going to have some reviews of more games for lots of consoles. So if you have enjoyed this, if you find this interesting, please take a moment and smash that subscribe button on the Geek Battle Gaming YouTube channel. Now from me, till next time, ciao for now.